You don't lose women. You lose your spine buying peace. Today, you'll close the vault and still keep your chest open. John 41 sits in his car outside her place. Engine humming. Hands steady on the wheel. He's the man people call when things go sideways. A builder, a protector. One unread message though, and he can feel his pulse negotiating. He promised he wouldn't explain again. He's rehearsing anyway paragraphs of context for a crime he can't name. Here's the truth. Most competent men avoid naming. You didn't lose control, you leased it. Quietly to a contract no one signed out loud. I'll carry your weather if you give me sun. It shows up as care. It runs as self. Care becomes vigilance. Vigilance becomes explanation. Explanation invites an audit of your spine. Audits thin respect. When respect thins, desire follows. Picture a vault. Heavy door. Quiet room. Valuables safe. Wanting to prove you're safe and present, you leave it slightly ajar. Little by little, the valuables sit closer to the edge. Everything valuable invites an audit. A test appears. You think she's testing you. The truth is, you offered the test. Not because you're weak, but because you confused soothing with leadership and equated constant adjustment with love. Let's set the frame you'll carry through this series. State gives schedule, gives bond. Your state first. Your schedule second. The bond last. Invert that sequence, put the bond first, your state last stand. You trade sovereignty for short-term calm. Peace on credit becomes debt. Debt accrues interest. The bill shows up as distance, colder tone. And you composing essays to buy back warmth you never should have sold. From now on, your body goes before your thumbs. Breath, 2 minutes, slow and low, shoulders down. Body, 1 minute, stack the spine, jaw unclenched. Boundary, 1 sentence that sets direction. Data, not verdict. No essays. 1 sentence. Direction beats confession. Doorway, not fortress. Warm spine. Clean words. These aren't slogans. They are rails, the kind that keep a train from tumbling when the curve tightens. You won't become cold. You'll become defined. We'll dismantle the silent contract in 5 faces. How attention turns into currency and buys relief at a bad exchange rate. How the gaze that measures you erases you. How sweetness can rewrite your name 1 small yes at a time. How fog hooks you for the sigh that follows. How strength starts carrying too much until the fire suffers. Along the way you'll keep your warmth and recover your authorship, which is the only way warmth stays attractive. 1 scene, because stories etch deeper than rules. Saturday, 6 a.m., John cancels his run just today to resolve everything now. The first time felt like love. The third time felt like sanding down the edges she once leaned on. Weeks later, you're not that guy anymore. He isn't. He's busy smoothing the very structure that made safety possible. This isn't a war of sexes. It's emotional engineering. Love needs form. Form needs you whole. So we start where the loop begins. With the smallest thing that hijacks the biggest days. A cool ping. A lazy sticker. A short reply that tilts your axis. When a signal cools and your chest tightens, you'll either explain to by relief or breathe to set direction. Only one of those choices keeps your spine. How much are you paying for the peace you keep buying? If the price is your spine, you're paying too much. Hold that thought as a single sticker hovers on your screen and you decide, this time, to answer with a line that leads instead of a paragraph that pleads. The smallest signal can tilt the largest day. A cool reply. An hour of silence. A sticker where a sentence used to live. If your chest tightens and your mind starts solving a problem you can't see, name the trade beneath the tension. You're outsourcing your emotional set point to her signals. That's how attention turns into currency. You spend it to buy relief. And every purchase teaches your nervous system to come back for more. Give the loop a shape so you can break it. Signal gives meaning, gives succumb. A neutral signal arrives. You rush to assign meaning. I messed up. She's pulling away. Someone else is in the picture. Then you succumb to the urge to fix the feeling by fixing the story. Long explanations, premature apologies, invitations wrapped in anxiety. The loop doesn't prove you care. It proves you've put your calm up for sale. Intermittent reinforcement sweetens the trap. The rare hit of warmth after ambiguity tastes better than steady attention. You don't love confusion, you love the sigh that follows. Change begins in the body, not the chat box. Before you touch the phone, run the 3-beat ritual. Breath, 2 minutes. Slow and low, shoulders down. Body 1 minute, stack the spine, jaw unclenched. Boundary 1 sentence that sets direction. Data, not verdict. No essays. 1 sentence. Direction beats confession. Doorway, not fortress. Warm spine. Clean words. When your state leads, your language follows line. Grounded. Specific, watch it in the wild. She replies with a sticker after your thoughtful note. Old pattern, you write a paragraph to buy clarity. New pattern, you breathe, you stand, you lead. Enjoyed last night. Tuesday, 7 p.m, place. If not, wishing you a solid week. 2 lines. 1 plan, 48 hours. If she's in, movement happens. If she's out, your calendar stays clean. Either way, your spine remains yours. Common traps look reasonable because they wear the face of responsibility. Translating temperature as verdict. Asking questions to soothe yourself rather than to learn. Narrating your good intentions as if sincerity were a strategy. Replace all 3 with a single rule of thumb you can remember in a tense chest. If your message needs more than 2 sentences to feel safe, you're writing for your nervous system, not for her. Keep the 3rd sentence in your pocket, for the plan. Let time do the rest. Another scene seals the point. John sees the maybe and feels the pinch. He gives it a new label, data. He runs the ritual. Friday, 8 p.m, same place. She answers 40 minutes later. Friday works. Not because a trick landed, but because a man led. And if the answer had been no, his week would still be intact. That's the quiet power. You're reclaiming authoring your state, so your schedule and your bond sit where they belong. There's a deeper layer to this economy. When you chase tone, you become a mirror. Mirrors reflect. They don't anchor. Presence anchors. Presence has gravity that explanation never will. The moment your words start auditioning for relief, pause. Feel your feet, lift your sternum half an inch, put 1 clean outcome on the table. If there's interest, it will step toward you. If there's control, it will demand more of you than from itself. Either way, you learn early, and learning early is mercy. This is not about becoming hard. It's about becoming defined. When signals cool and your body heats, choose authorship over anesthesia. Let the ritual own the first 90 seconds. Let 1 sentence set the next event. Let 48 hours reveal what paragraphs cannot. You'll notice, over time, that your days stop pivoting around pings, and your attention stops being a slot machine. What returns in that quiet is your capacity to see clearly what's in front of us, between a woman who sees you and a woman who sees you and a woman who measures you. Some men chase chaos. Smart men chase something subtler, almost enough. The praise that carries a question mark. The kiss that lands with a quiet audit. The dinner where you present your highlight reel and walk out hollow, like applause fading in an empty room. If you keep choosing women who measure you, Check the echo in your history approval that arrived only after excellence. When love smells like evaluation, you bring trophies to a space that opens only for presence. Competence is a gift. Overcompetence in intimacy is a cage. Your high-functioning part is a protectorate, wants to keep you safe. The moment uncertainty appears, it ties the internal tie, grabs the slide deck, and starts performing. It feels noble. It drains oxygen. She ends up dating your resume while the real you waits backstage for the right cue. Each time you earn closeness with explanation, you reinforce the belief that closeness must be earned. The result isn't connection. It's audition. The antidote isn't sloppiness. It's deliberate. Leave a fingerprint on the glass. Let a minor joke miss without patchwork. Admit a small miss without apology theater. Offer direction instead of defense. The subtext says what decades of explanation never secure. I'm off the stage now. That sentence is felt, not heard. It relaxes the room because you stop asking for a score and start offering a frame. Use the 70/30ths presence. Test as a quiet ruler. 70% being visible breath, eyes that listen, pauses that don't beg. 30% saying short direction, clean questions, humor that doesn't self-diminish. Invert that ratio, and you will sound deep while drifting apart. Depth isn't noise. Depth is space. Space is where two adults notice each other without the fog of self-promotion or the static of self-defense. Beware. The rush of almost enough. It's more addictive than enough because it marries effort to hope. The mind whispers, if I push a little more, I'll cross the line. That line moves. That's the trick. The prize is the continuation of the test. It ends only when you remove the scoreboard. When the metric disappears, the meeting appears. Sometimes that reveals compatibility. Sometimes it reveals you only shared a stage. Both outcomes are wins, because truth saves years. A scene to etch the shift. Candlelight, low jazz, and the familiar question. I admire your discipline. Why aren't you a partner yet? Old John would roll the roadmap across the table projections, timelines. John breathes, lets the question rest a beat, and answers with a spine, not a slideshow. I like what I'm building. Thursday, 8. The Blue Door Jazz Bar, join me. That isn't evasion. It's design. He chooses to be and to lead rather than to litigate his worth. She smiles, not because she heard a plan, but because she finally met a man. Practice this once, not forever. One conversation, one permitted imperfection, no fix. One forgotten, detailed, not dramatized. One pause, left intact. When anxiety demands performance, run your mantra, presence before proof. Data, not verdict. Then place one clean outcome on the table. Walk. Jazz, Tuesday, 7. Direction is oxygen in rooms, suffocated by presentation. You don't have to prove you deserve the room. You have to inhabit it. Inhabiting includes saying less when less reveals more, allowing a human mark where you used to polish yourself invisible, and tolerating 2 seconds of silence without buying applause. Paradoxically, interest grows in that quiet. The impulse to test dissolves when there's no stage too seasonally, a room to share. John learned this the slow way. He let a joke die. He owned a miss without footnotes. He swapped numbers for a map. As he stopped trying to deserve, conversations warmed and loosened. And when he realized, with one woman, that almost enough was the relationship itself, he didn't condemn himself for not getting there. He removed the scoreboard, thanked the lesson, and freed space for a bond that doesn't require a judge. The counter to being measured isn't measuring back. It's removing the metric, standing there, and offering a direction. Whoever came to play hearts, stays. Whoever came to keep score, finds another arena. No announcement, no drama. just the quiet authority of a man who prefers intimacy to performance. Presence to applause. Direction to defense, and from that center, he will draw the lines that protect both people from slowly disappearing. Those lines you just drew begin in the smallest places: sweet requests, reasonable favors, tiny edits to your weekend that look harmless on the surface. Could you skip your Saturday run this week? I just want more time. Say yes once, and it feels loving. Say yes twice, and it feels considerate. Say yes 3 times, and you'll notice a faint ache in the mirror. You're dissolving by degrees, and the erosion is happening under a smile. That's compliance creep. Not a single dramatic surrender, but a sequence of agreeable moments that add up to a new identity you never chose. Praise often coats the process. I love how flexible you are. It sounds like closeness. It trains passivity. The physics are consistent. Predictability grows, interest thins, friction disappears, and with it, polarity. She doesn't want a man with no edges. She wants a man whose edges are well drawn. Reframe the role of limits. A boundary is not a wall to keep her out. It's a doorway that tells both of you where the meeting lives. Boundary assiphering is the shift. A limit offered as design, not as punishment. If your limits only appear when you're angry or exhausted, they'll arrive sharp and late. When they're designed in calm, they arrive warm and early, and they read as care because they make the relationship navigable. Install the 3 weekly anchors and defend them as non-negotiables. Body, mission, silence. Body is the ritual that resources you: a run, a lift, a swim. Mission is a block that moves what matters: strategy, craft, the thing that builds your future. Silence is the hour where your mind clears. No notifications, just you returning to center. Anchors aren't selfish. They are the structure that keeps you from outsourcing your spine to the mood of the day. Watch the difference in the room when you protect them with clean language. She says, "Skip your run this Saturday. I miss you, old reflex." Sure, just this once. New posture, breath, body, boundary. I hear you. Saturday, 8 to 10, is my body anchor. At 11, I'm all yours. Brunch on Maple. Doorway, not fortress. You didn't shut her out. You designed a meeting that includes you. That design communicates something no speech can. Your presence is safe to lean on because it has a frame. There's a deeper reason this multiplies desire. Respect precedes attraction in adults. When respect drops, usually through self-erase, attraction fades, no matter how nice the day feels. When you lead with a map, 2 good things happen at once. First, she experiences an adult partner, not a reactive boyfriend. Second, you experience your own day as authored, which quietly raises your baseline confidence. Confidence earned by self-authorship is the kind that doesn't need applause, and that steadiness is the opposite of neediness. Common illusions keep men stuck. If I say no, I'll lose her. Usually false. A grounded no invites trust because it proves you won't sell your center to keep the moment comfortable. If I'm flexible, things will stay smooth. They might stay polite. They won't stay alive. If she praises my flexibility, it must be working. Praise can be a reward for convenience. Don't build your identity on being easy to arrange. Build it on being clear to relate to. A micro scene to anchor the pattern. 3rd weekend in a row, John has sacrificed his hike. She is strangely colder, then snaps about a minor oversight. He's stunned. I'm doing everything. Exactly. He is doing everything. That everything removed the friction that signals a living man. The following week, he reinstates his anchors. She pushes once, then settles. The tone warms. He didn't get domineering. He got defined, practiced the method for 7 days. Write your 3 anchors on paper where you see them daily. Tell her the shape once, not as a plea, not as a threat, but as a map you intend to keep. When requests come, run the sequence. Acknowledge the desire, check the anchors, offer an alternative that preserves them. Get drinks tonight. I'm heads down on a mission block till 9. After that, I'm in. Or coffee tomorrow, at 10. Clean, kind, firm. This isn't about withholding or playing hard to get. It's about refusing to pay for harmony with some. Boundaries don't evict love. Boundaries evict confusion. And when confusion leaves, the room fills with something that feels like oxygen: trust, polarity, play. The day you stop agreeing your way into invisibility is the day the relationship gets something solid to press against without bruising either person. Carry one sentence forward. Map over meekness. If you can hold that sentence, when the smile arrives with another soft edit to your week, you'll keep the warmth and lose the drift. And keeping warmth while losing drift is how desire survives the daily kindnesses that used to slowly erase you. When you hold your map, something else tries to steal it, back the rush that follows uncertainty. Mixed signals light up the same circuitry that casinos study. It isn't the silence you crave. It's the exhale when silence breaks. That's why ambiguity can feel intoxicating. Not because it's deep, but because it dangles, relief, like a prize you have to earn. Name the mechanism so you can disarm it. Variable ratio reward is the schedule where unpredictable winds produce the strongest pull. Intermittent reinforcement ties your attention to a lever you can't stop pressing. Add an all-day cloneliness you'd rather romanticize than face, and the fog begins to look like mystery. You start reading distance as depth, uncertainty as chemistry, and maybe as destiny waiting to reveal itself if you just try harder. Turn off the fog machine. No more filling gaps with fantasy. If effort and clarity are sporadic, call them what they are: sporadic. That sentence alone will save you months. It won't make you colder. It will make you accurate. Accuracy ends the labyrinth faster than any speech about intentions. When a pattern is inconsistent, the antidote is not poetry. It's containment. Containment language is direction without drama. It sets the next event instead of buying reassurance. In unstable dynamics, short beats sincere, because sincere often becomes excessive. Use clean lines you can say on 3 hours of sleep. Had fun. Friday, 8 p.m., same place. I'm free Thursday at 6, join or skip. If it makes sense, text by Friday. These aren't tricks. They are rails. They protect your attention from the variable ruled loop and put the decision where it belongs on both of you, not on your paragraphs. Now bring in the 48-hour ambiguity protocol. 2 invites. 48 hours of open window. Then a graceful close if clarity doesn't show. I enjoyed you. If Friday at 8 works, great. If not, wishing you well. You're not slamming a door. You're closing the casino. You refuse to fund a game that pays you in biochemical spikes and spiritual hangovers. The moment you stop wagering words for hits of relief, the dynamic either matures or ends. Both outcomes move your life forward. A scene to carve the difference into memory. John gets a maybe. The old reflex wakes up, hand reaching for the keyboard, chest tight, mind composing a tender essay. He catches it. Data, not verdict, he reminds himself. Breath, body, boundary. Then, Friday, 8 p.m., same place. 40 minutes pass. Friday works. Not because a line worked, but because leadership did. And if the answer had been no, the outcome would still be good. A calendar that respects him, and a heart that doesn't need to buy oxygen with syllables. Projection is the twin that keeps confusion alive. You paint an ideal into the blank spaces because ideals are easier than emptiness. The test is simple. Do her actions match the story you're tempted to tell? If not, drop the brush. Halos are heavy. You're the one who ends up wearing them while she just lives her life. Clarity isn't an accusation. It's a kindness to both people. It releases you from the pressure to decipher, and releases her from the pressure to perform a fantasy she never promised. When you stop chasing the sigh after the maybe, your nervous system stabilizes. Stable men ask better questions. Do we share rhythm, or just spark? Do we build well on quiet days, not just on dramatic ones? Does her curiosity increase when you lead with direction? If the answers land soft and true, keep investing. If they land thin or sideways, you learned early. Learning early is mercy. There's a common fear that clarity kills heat. The opposite is true. Heat needs air, and fog consumes oxygen. When you move from pleading to leading, you thin the fog. Room appears. A woman who wants to meet you steps into that room because it finally exists. A woman who wants control won't, because room threatens the game. Either way, you'll feel the relief of living in daylight, not the roller coaster of chasing a lamp that flickers. Just enough to keep you watching. Carry the mantra that collapses the loop in real time. 2 lines. 1 plan, 48 hours. If you can hold that line when the maybe lands and your chest tightens, you deny the casino its favorite customer and give your attention back to what actually grows desire: rhythm, reciprocity, and a center that doesn't sway with every breeze. And once the fog clears, the next leak becomes visible. The quiet way strong men start carrying both sides of the bridge until the weight steals the spark they were trying to protect. Strong men don't usually crash. They carry. They pick up both sets of emotions, both sets of plans, both sides of the silence. It looks noble for a while. It reads as leadership to anyone not paying attention. But weight has a way of turning spark into smoke. If you've ever felt oddly resentful after a week where you did everything right, you've touched the hidden cost of overfunctioning. You bought peace on credit, and the interest is your desire. Overfunctioning is subtle because it wears the mask of responsibility. You anticipate needs before they're voiced. You smooth friction before it becomes heat. You do more than your share to avoid conflict, until more than your share becomes the relationship's operating system. She acclimates to your extra effort. You acclimate to her acclamation. Then one day you look down and realize you're holding 4 lanes of traffic on a bridge built for 2. Bring in warm spine, the blend of firmness and heat that replaces martyrdom with authorship. Warm spine doesn't bark or stonewall. It says, I hear you, I value you. I won't abandon what's essential to me to make this moment comfortable. That sentence isn't a performance. It's a posture. Its power is structural. When your spine is consistent, no one has to push to find it. Audit your week with the 3 dials: body, mission, bond. Body, are you resourced or running on fumes? Mission, did you move what matters or drown in small fires? Bond, is the giving-receiving ratio near fair, or have you quietly shifted into carrying what was meant to be shared? If one dial is read 2 weeks in a row, drift is in play. Drift ignored becomes drama. Drama is often the body's last-ditch attempt to force the conversation. Your calendar refused to schedule. Redistribute the load with clean language and no apology theater. Short, specific, achievable. I'll handle dinners Monday and Wednesday. Can you take Tuesday? I'm booking the venue. Can you manage invites and confirmations? I'm off screens at 10. If it's big, call. If not, we'll decide tomorrow at 7. These aren't negotiations for power. They're designs for fairness. Fair is sexy because it makes space for play. Play is what desire does when weight is distributed. A scene you'll recognize. It's 10:27 p.m, she's spiraling. You're tired. Old reflex says stay up, fix it, carry both ends. Warm spine breathes, mirrors, and sets a rail. I'm here. I want this right. Tonight, I'm off at 10. Let's sleep and decide Sunday at 10. The house settles. The problem shrinks overnight because it's no longer being fed by exhaustion. She doesn't feel dismissed. She feels the relief of a man who won't burn the foundation to keep a lamp on. You may fear that limits make you less loving. In real life, limits make you trustworthy. Love without form is weather. Form without love is ice. Warm spine is the fusion form that keeps the fire from running wild. Warmth that keeps the form from going cold. Boundaries don't evict love. Boundaries evict confusion. Confusion is heavy. Removing it lightens everything: the tone, the timing, the touch. Common illusions keep the weight on your shoulders. If I do a little more, she'll feel safe. Maybe for a night. Safety built on your self-erasure curdles into contempt because she can feel the trade, even if no one names it. If I take it all, we'll avoid a fight. You avoid a fight. You purchase a quiet resentment that leaks through your jawline and your eyes. If I don't handle it, it won't get done. Sometimes true, which is why clarity matters. If it doesn't get done, the consequence should touch both people, not just your sleep. John had to learn this by failing the easy way. He defaulted to midnight management, then wondered why mornings felt sour. The week he installed the dials, patterns appeared. Body was red. Bond was lopsided. He rebuilt 2 small stones into the fireplace. Gym, 3 mornings. Phone off at 10. He made 2 clean asks. Split grocery runs. Rotate date night planning. She pushed once. He held kindly. The push stopped. Heat returned. Not because he became domineering, but because he became defined. There is a sentence that protects the spark you're trying to keep alive. I will not buy calm with self-abandonment. If you hold that line, even imperfectly, you'll notice a quiet recalibration. Fewer crises will need to exist to get your attention. More evenings will end with bodies relaxing instead of minds racing. And when you do face a real storm, you'll meet it as 2 adults in a well-built room, instead of one exhausted man trying to be a roof, a wall, and a fire all at once. Carry this forward as you exhale. Author your state. Design your week, and share the bridge. From that ground, the final shape becomes obvious: the simple architecture that keeps your warmth attractive. Your edges intact, and your name unlost in love. Pull the threads without tightening the rope. The trap was never a villain in a dress. It was the slow transfer of your center to someone else's weather. You watched attention turn into currency, measurement erase presence, sweetness edit your week. Fog sell you relief, and strength carry until the spark thinned. The remedy wasn't hardness. It was definition: state before schedule. Schedule before bond, so care stops masquerading as self-abandonment. Keep the rails visible and the room warm. Breath, body, boundary. State before schedule, schedule before bond. Data, not verdict. No essays, 1 sentence that sets the next event. 2 lines. 1 plan. 48 hours. Doorway, not fortress. Warm spine. Clean words. These aren't slogans. They're bones. When bones show, people relax. Respect rises. Desire follows respect because adults lean on what holds. Hold the anchors that stop you from trading sovereignty for short-term calm. Body rituals that resource you. Mission blocks that move what matters. Silence empty space that resets signal from noise. Guard them kindly and publicly. The message is simple, self-led, not self-absorbed. From that posture, a boundary becomes an offering, not a punishment. and your map invites meeting instead of compliance. Name the trap precisely so you don't step into it dressed as kindness. You weren't losing women. You were leasing your spine to buy peace. Care morphed into vigilance. Vigilance into explanation. Explanation into a quiet audit of your backbone. Attention turned into currency. Measurement erased presence. Sweetness rewrote your week. Fog sold you relief. Strength carried both sides of the bridge until the spark thinned. The remedy wasn't hardness. It was definition. Keep your warmth, recover your authorship, and let both be visible at the same time. Carry a single commitment across rooms, seasons, and storms. I lead my state first, my schedule second, and the bond third. If you hold that sequence when the ping is cold, the praise is a test, or the smile arrives with a soft edit. You will stay visible to yourself, and a man who remains visible to himself doesn't vanish in love. He makes a place where two people can breathe. Next in the series, why your instinct is leading you straight into pain house, survival wiring misreads modern dating. Why you knew and still did it, and how to reset your wiring without going numb. If this helped, like the video so other men find it, subscribe to the Hidden Dynamics of Love, and drop one comment. What smallest no restored your self-respect this week? I left 5 copy-paste direction lines and a short reading list in the description. Use what serves. Ignore the rest.